Hello, and welcome to the fourth episode of 15 Minutes of Fame featured artist interviews, where we sit down with artists we have reviewed, meet them face to face, learn about what they have done since their review and what's upcoming and in store for them. Today, we have a very special guest, all the way from Berlin, Germany, making this the first international guest to be interviewed for 15 Minutes of Fame. I would like to happily welcome Miss Kathi Deakin.
Hello. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here and taking the time to sit down and talk to us today. So, when we last caught up with you, that would have been, I think, the 33rd published article for 15 Minutes of Fame. This was before we were doing interviews. This was before we were doing the 15 Minutes of Fame blind reaction to music videos. This was back in August when we reviewed your song Fairy, if I'm not mistaken. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, yeah, that's correct.
Great. And if I remember correctly, I think I have the article pulled up here. Fairy was your debut single. Is that
Yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how it feels to have something of your own that's out there in the world now for all to hear?
Insane. I mean, when you write the song, or when I wrote the song, and when I recorded it, and when it was done, it felt like I had this big secret, Like I was just walking around being like, oh, you people, no one knows. I've got this big thing coming for me. Um, and now it's out there, and I feel, yeah, relieved also that I finally shared this, I've made music for quite a long time, and it's a dream come true, actually.
Oh, wonderful. So what was it like recording the song and then after going through that entire process, you finally you get to release the product and watch it kind of go live to the world, and now it's just something that's personal part of you, and then now it's here it is, anybody can press play and listen to it. Tell me a little bit about that experience going from recording to releasing.
Yeah, I'd love to. It's very personal, of course. It always is
Hmm.
with music. Yeah, but I was really a little frightened also of how my family is gonna react. I mean, it's very much a love song. And yeah, it's very like intimate, I feel like.
Hmm.
And so the person I wrote this about, my girlfriend, obviously her parents heard it too. So I was really nervous, like, how's that going to be? But they were really excited actually, and everyone was, I'm also proud to have these feelings and this relationship and this to have met this person,
Hmm.
that I feel so strongly for, all that admiration. So yeah, I actually love that everyone knows that now and
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Um, I'm gonna actually ask a little bit more about that here in just a second. But there was so Barry has. We were just kind of talking before the interview began how it has a little bit of a folk slash Americana undertone. In addition to you, I've actually reviewed a couple of other artists from Germany who are folk artists. Is folk music popular in Germany? Do you notice a lot of people listening to it, or Americana, or something that's similar to that nature?
So I'm gonna say no, but that I'm actually kind of scared too because I don't know. I
Hmm.
only know that in my circle, it's not really popular. And that's what I was also kind of scared of. I thought, okay, I already know that half of the people I know are not, it's not that kind of music. It's
Yeah,
really melancholic and slow and like, folky, I guess.
yeah,
Well, yeah, I was also scared of releasing this and showing what I like and what I do. And also it was maybe helping that I knew, okay, if they don't like it, maybe it's just not that type of music.
absolutely.
I feel like it's not that big here, honestly. But I don't know if Taylor Swift is also folk influenced. I mean, she's big here too, of course. Yeah, so I
Wait,
guess.
Taylor Swift, who's that? I'm just kidding. Yeah, she's pretty big everywhere. Fun
Thank
fact, my mother was her teacher in junior high school. She's
you.
actually
No
from the
way.
town that I grew up in. So
That's
yeah,
insane.
so it's
Wow.
a little fun tidbit there. But I do
That's
want to give you some assurances here. It is my opinion, you heard it here, everybody. My opinion that Taylor Swift is a folk musician.
yeah,
I mean,
man. I
she
think
even has
so.
the album Folklore. So I think if you aren't going to classify her as one particular genre, there's definitely a heavy influence of folk into what she does. Um, so so then it's probably safe to say that you've probably not really collaborated with any other folk artists or anything like that at this point. Yeah.
Yet I haven't.
There's something positive to be said about being the only person that does the kind of music that you're looking for is low key. There are probably people around you that are looking for it. And if they're looking for, oh, I really like folk music, and I'm wondering if there are any folk artists in Germany, if you're the only one around, that's kind of a short list that, they're going through. So good
That'd
opportunity
be cool.
for
Yeah.
some exposure for you, right? I think that's great.
Yeah.
When we had left off with you in August, when we did the article for Fairy, you'd stated that you're currently working with a producer in Berlin and you had plans to release a new single in the fall.
Mhm.
Well, by my calculations, I think it's the fall now. Can you tell
Oh,
us if there
yeah.
is a new song, new single? What's the name of the song and when it might be coming out?
Yeah, actually, it's gonna come out in 2 weeks on, yeah, November 22nd, and the single's called These Roots.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
And what a perfect name for a folk song.
yeah,
These Roots. I love
yeah,
it.
right, yeah. I
That
know.
is great.
Yeah.
So, what, if anything, what can you tell us about these roots? Is it going to be like the same vibe as Fairy, or are there going to be different elements to it?
That's a little bit hard to answer because to me it's a very, very much a different song. But
Hmm.
from what I've heard my family say and the people I've shown it to, I think to them it's very, very similar because um yeah, I guess it's hard to tell if you make the music yourself. But of
Sure.
course, it very much sounds like it was written by the same person that wrote Fairy.
Okay.
But to me, it's very different because first of all, it's much more melancholic, much more cloudy and a little darker, I guess.
Okay.
Um, yeah, the melody too. I mean, Fairy's very like kind of not happy, but there's something magical, positive
Hmm.
happening there. And I think in these roots, it's more like, yeah, there's a lot of thought, a lot of words, and when I wrote this song, I was really overthinking a lot,
Hmm.
which is something I do often, and something that recurs in my songs too, that I have this kind of anxiety that I put myself in, and yeah, just panicking a lot. And
Yeah.
so when I wrote that song, it heavily influenced how it sounds, I guess.
Okay.
It is different,
Excellent.
yeah.
Well, I think it's definitely that's going to be an interesting take. I loved Fairy and I loved how it just kind of, you know, forgive the similarity in comparison here, but it was, this kind of fairy tale story. And it sounds like maybe these roots, it may even kind of have like a little bit more of an intimate element to it, with the darker, more melancholy tone to it. So
Right.
that sounds I'm excited to hear that. I think that would be great. And I think that does give, a little bit of a dynamic to, what you did with Fairy to what you're going to be doing here. And so you had mentioned that Fairy and most of the music you write is heavily experienced by observations you've made of your girlfriend. So for these roots, is she the muse for this song as well?
I think that doesn't really matter because um, whoever it is about, the perception is shaped by trauma and insecurities and things. And I think that's initially what the songs are about, you know,
Yeah.
like what I what I'm scared of or what I interpret into situations that might be completely different. To be fair, I wrote that song 3 years ago. So
Okay. Okay.
um yeah, that's maybe why also it feels
It's
very different than
sure.
very probably because there's so much happened between those times. And the last part, we're gonna probably listen to that later.
Sure. Absolutely. That sounds
Yeah.
great. Um,
Um,
and yeah, if I can kind of elaborate or kind of, I guess, talk about what you just said a little bit, I kind of love what you said, in fact, because if you read some of the articles that I talk about, I typically do this section where I do an analysis of the lyrical content in the song, and I really advocate for writers to um, kind of generalize what they're talking about because it leaves that open door for readers slash listeners to come in and make their own interpretations of it. So I love the fact that, you definitely did that with Fairy, and I think it sounds like to me that there may be that opportunity in these roots as well, where we can really kind of derive our own interpretation of what the lyrics mean. And to me, that just opens the door for more people to be introduced to your music because it gives everybody a chance to relate to it. So I love that.
that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm hoping for. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you definitely hit the mark with Fairy, and it sounds like these roots we're gonna kind of have the same type of reaction to that as well. And going back to the article, you had said when I was kind of doing the deep dive into who Kathi Deakin is, I had actually seen that you had said that you were in school studying primary education and you're focusing on language and special education. Are you still pursuing that? And how's that going for you?
Yeah, I am. It's
Excellent.
going good. I've studied for a while. I've lived
Hmm.
somewhere else and studied there before.
Oh,
And
excellent.
when I moved to Berlin, yeah, I applied for special education because, yeah, in practice, I've learned that there's so much more to learn if you want to do that job
Oh,
the way I
absolutely.
want to do it. Yeah. And so I'm studying, and that's great. It's kind of hard with making the music because it leaves, well, I would love to make music every day. And with
Yeah.
studying, of course, it's like the second thing I do. And I also have a job to afford living here. So I have to kind of accept that I can't do everything and have enough time for everything. But yeah, one step at a time. It's
Yeah,
good.
the plight of an independent artist is juggling everything on top of that,
I
because we
think
don't
so.
get to be like the Taylor Swifts in the world and call this our
It feels
primary
like
job. We have to balance this with, our family, our job, our school education, things like that. So I totally I feel your pain there, but it also it I think it's a testament to how much you want it, though, because a
Oh,
lot of times what ends up happening is, people end up kind of giving up or, just kind of letting it go by the wayside because, it becomes less and less and less of a priority to them. So when you're putting this music out, it's showing that you're taking the time to really commit to it and that it means that much to you that, you're incorporating it in what you do. So I think that's great.
it's true.
So um, we're getting kind of close to the end of the interview here. Before we wrap things up with Kathi, I had asked her if there was any way we might be able to possibly get a sneak peek of these roots. And she had graciously agreed to share a clip of it. So here is a 15 minutes of fame exclusive preview of These Roots by Kathi Deakin.
Used to give me, I could never figure out. And I'm sure that you still love me, but there'll always be this doubt. Am I all you ever wanted? You feel wired to the ground, and my answer's more than clear, but see your head still in the clouds.
All right. Wow. So you heard it here. I cannot wait to hear what the rest of this song is going to sound like. So we talked a little bit about what's next for you. And you had said as of today, there aren't any plans for live shows, but that's something that you're looking to maybe start doing later on down the road in the future. Can you tell us where you are with that, or if that's something that's near future, or if it's a little bit later down the line?
Um, I was sick last week. I actually wanted to try out an open mic, an open stage kind of thing.
Hmm.
Had to cancel. So it is definitely gonna be happening in the next 2 weeks. But that's just, you know, stuff where anyone can come and play.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I will definitely try to get into that this year, like in the next
soon. So
months.
yeah.
It would be my dream. I also want to find some friends that can play some guitar, maybe some drums even. Because I
Do
would
a
like to,
band thing?
yeah, a little bit of a band thing.
Oh my goodness.
That
I
would
just
be the
got
dream.
goosebumps. Oh, I hope that happens. And I hope that you are able to set something up to where maybe you can record that, because that would be something great to see in my humble surroundings of Nashville, Tennessee, halfway around the world.
Yeah, sure.
So, um, again, I do want to iterate. You'll definitely have to please keep me posted on what comes of that. I would love to be able to see a live performance. And in the meantime, we are super excited for the release of These Roots that's coming out on the 22nd of November of this year. You guys heard it here. We heard the clip that Kathi was so gracious to share with us. And once again, this has been a lovely conversation with Miss Kathi Deakin. Kathi, thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so honored to have my first interview with you.
Well, the honor is all on this end of the camera. So thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck. I can't wait to hear These Roots. I know that our listeners can't wait to hear These Roots. And I can't wait to hopefully put it on another playlist. So thank you for sharing. And we will be waiting eagerly in anticipation for November the 22nd, where all of us can hit play at the exact same time and hear These Roots.
Thank you so much.
You bet. It was a pleasure speaking with you, Kathi.
All the feelings you still give me, I could never figure out. And I'm sure that you still love me, but there'll always be this doubt. Am I all you ever